Okay, so coming into your comfortable position, however that is for you, and then bringing the backs of your hands onto your legs. If you're kneeling up, you might find that you want to bring them a little closer in, maybe one on top of the other if it's not comfortable to bring them here. You can also link your thumb and first finger together, which is a very traditional yoga hand gesture. This is the gesture of wisdom, or Jnana Mudra. Or you can just leave them flat, so whatever works. The essence of it is that by bringing the backs of your hands onto your legs, you open your chest, because when you bring the palms down, it rotates the arms inwardly, which tends to hunch the upper back, and when you bring the backs of the hands onto the legs, it rotates the arms outwardly, and then you get a little bit more space in the chest. So you might feel that a little bit easier to breathe in this position. And then just closing your eyes and internalizing your awareness. So becoming aware of your physical body at the moment and just noticing how it feels. Just take a moment to scan your mind around your body. And just noting any areas where you feel you may need to be a little bit more sensitive this evening. So as I often mention at the beginning of the classes, our bodies during pregnancy are changing all the time. And it stands to reason there's a lot going on. You're growing a new life in your body. So every part of your physical and physiological anatomy is currently involved or almost seconded towards this growing of the new life. And as your baby grows, there will be different things happening in your body. So just noting these changes as and when they come. And two of the things that I'd like you to focus on this evening are the qualities of strength and the qualities of stamina. So these are two qualities that for labour will hold you in good stead. And actually moving forwards into the 20 or so years of parenting, strength and stamina will also be incredibly useful. So these are qualities that it's a good idea to cultivate. It's frightening how much energy small children have, especially the boys. So then just turning your attention to your breath. And notice how your breathing feels. Is there a sense of freedom in the chest, in the ribcage, in the lungs? Or is there a sense that there is some restriction now to the quality of your breath? If you feel that there is some restriction, see if you can direct your breath horizontally. Can you breathe sideways into the sides of your ribs? Can you breathe backwards into the back of your ribs? Can you create more space for your breath? And then see if you can lengthen the breath slightly. And you can help yourself to do this by engaging the muscles around your throat to create a soft oceanic sound. And if your nose is congested, which is one of the common conditions of pregnancy, you might prefer to not create a secondary restriction in your throat because you've already got a primary restriction in your nostrils. So your breath will already be slow and long. Notice how it feels when you engage the breath a little bit more. Now the next time you breathe in, just gently raise your arms all the way up. Interlace your fingers. Push the palms away. And just have a little ease over to one side. Try to move from the waist and the ribs and not from the hands. So just let the hands move gently. Come back to the centre. Come over to the other side again by lengthening sides of the body. Come back into the centre. Let's do that again. Notice how that feels in the spine. Notice how it feels in the shoulders. And release the hands all the way down. Now, if you're sitting cross-legged, can you swap them the other way so that you are stretching the opposite side of your pelvis? And if you're kneeling up or you've got the legs stretched, you're absolutely fine where you are. So you're going to bring your hands onto the tops of your thighs and you're going to press your chest forwards and then you're going to push the chest backwards. So this is called the spinal flex. I'll just come sideways, which is going to help you. You had a side on view just now. So press your chest forwards and then press it backwards. And it works quite nicely with the breath. If you inhale as you press your chest forwards and you exhale as you press your chest backwards. So just continuing in that same way, using your ocean breath to slow down the breathing. When you get to the next exhalation, you can just rest back into stillness. And then we're going to move the chest around. So you're going to press your chest to the side and then press it forwards. Press it to the other side and then push it backwards. And just continuing in that same way. If you're really close to the wall, you might have to shimmy a little bit forwards now because there's going to be no space to push the spine backwards. So this is known as the Sufi grind, which is a very strange name. So not sure if that explains what this move is, but we're just moving the rib cage. So you might find this frees up a little bit of tightness that you might have in the rib cage and in the upper part of your back. Now, the next time you come to the centre, you're going to change direction. You're going to go the other way now. So now pushing the spine backwards and all the way to the front. Just do one more circle and then come all the way back to the centre. Just notice how that feels. We're going to come over onto our hands and our knees. We're going to be taking the leg backwards. So you're going to need to come to the front of your space so that you've got some clearance behind you to be able to stretch the leg out. And there may be some modifications needed here for those of you who have got some SPD. Okay. So a couple of you here, you're on the video. Are you okay to just have your heads?
Yeah.
You're absolutely fine with that. Okay. Obviously, you have to ask GDPR. So coming on to all fours. Tuck the tailbone under, round back, and then just weave your hips from side to side with the back in this rounded position. So not just in a neutral position, but tucking your tailbone under and arching the spine to the ceiling, and then just swaying the hips from side to side. This might give you a little bit more space in the lower back. And then coming to neutral, I'm going to do a little bit of strength work for the pelvis. We're going to do the dog up the lamppost move, which kind of really says exactly what it does. As you inhale, just going to lift the knee out to the side, the right knee, and then bring it all the way back down. Now, if that's not going to suit you, if your pelvis isn't going to be comfortable there, can you do the opposite and actually wrap that leg behind? Grip the thighs together, roll the spine to the ceiling, and just ease forwards and backwards. So that's your option for any pelvic girdle pain that you might be having. Otherwise, if you're fine, you're going to do 5 altogether. So lifting on the inhale, lowering on the exhale. So this is a good one for the gluteal muscles and hip flexors. And then coming back to neutral, so whichever position you were in. So then from here, sliding the right foot out, tuck the toes under. So this is the cramp stretch, or anti-cramp stretch. So toes are tucked under, heel pushes away, so you're actively lengthening into the calf muscle. So initially when you start to do this, you might find that your calf muscle is quite tight. So ideally you want to hold the stretch until you can't feel that intensity in the calf muscles anymore. So again, if you're getting cramp at night, the idea is to do this before you get into bed, and again, just hold the stretch until you can't experience any intensity in the muscle, which means you've lengthened it, and 9 times out of 10, you get rid of the cramp stretch. So just to release the hands, I haven't got any bricks left here. Just walk your hands back. If you've got a brick, you can place it between your thighs and just use it to kind of grip a little bit more of your thigh muscles. So again, preparing for squatting, gripping a brick or a block between your thighs. If you haven't got any of that, then you can use your cushion. Do you want your block back?
Yes,
because we're not going to be sitting for a while, so you could probably have it back. Have you got your cushion?
I've got to use my cushion.
So just having something between your thighs, if you've got something, and just gripping. And then we're just going to do a little bit of movements with the arms. So you take the arms out to the side, keep gripping, lift the rib cage, and then just circle the wrists around. So I'm just going to use this as a way of relaxing the wrists, and then circle them in the opposite direction. And then reach the arms back behind and then interlace the fingers. So a good stretch for the front of the body. So this is a really good stretch for most people. If you spend all day slaving over a computer, then this is a really good antidote to that. Instep cramp. We were talking about that earlier. Set it off. And then it's quite nice to just sway here from side to side as well. And then come back to the centre. And then you can release whatever you had between the legs and coming back onto all fours. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you're either going to do 5 left leg up the lamppost, or you're going to squeeze the left leg behind the right leg round the back and just ease forwards and backwards, so your choice. So if you're lifting the leg, inhaling, leg up, and then exhaling, knee down. And when you finish your 5, coming back to neutral from whatever position you're in, and then extending the left leg away. And then same thing again, the toes tuck under, the heel pushes away, and you actively stretch that leg backwards. And just as we did on the other side, you'll continue to work with that stretch until you can't feel the intensity in the muscles anymore. And then once you've done that, you can bring the knees to the floor. So another option to release the wrist, we're going to slide the right knee forward and the left leg back. Now this is also a quad stretch. So if you think that your pelvis isn't going to be comfortable with that, do you want to do, let's see, you're on all fours, so let's give you something on all fours. Oh, the U shape. So working the pelvic girdle muscles, so making really big U shapes coming from side to side. Okay. Otherwise, if you're okay with this, try and lengthen the left leg back as much as you can, and that should give you a bit of a stretch in the quad. This is the left quad, and then maybe rock the hips from side to side. So we do this one quite a lot, just because it's one of the easiest ways to stretch the quads when you're pregnant, because you're limited in what you can do. Most quad stretches involve lying on the belly and kind of bending the legs up. You can't do that anymore. So our options are fairly limited, but this is quite a good one. And then if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can actually bend the left leg, and that gives you more stretch. And depending on where you are in your pregnancy and also how this feels in your pelvis, you can walk the hands back a little bit so you're rising up. And you may even be able to reach back either with your right hand or left hand's a bit easier, and then just ease the heel back towards the buttocks. So again, this is if you want to really get in. Try using the other hand because it's a bit, yeah, it's a bit closer. Can you feel those quads now? Yeah. You did ask. A lot of my classes, they don't mention anything anymore because they know it's going to hurt. They say they've got something they need to
Sometimes nobody gets mad.
And then gently release that and then push up. And then we're going to come into down facing dog. So tuck your toes under, make a space for your baby, bring the buttocks back towards the heels as far as you can. And that should give you a good measurement. Now from there, stretch your arms out as far as they'll go. Push the hands into the ground, rise up onto all fours and then press back. And then just ease one heel at a time towards the floor. So Amy, Amy and Alex, this is going to be your best friend. This is the get the bum out of the pelvis position. So everything we do for breech babies, you intersperse with the downward dog. So you're kind of trying to suck your baby out of the pelvis. So, yeah. And then bring the knees all the way back down. I mean, it's kind of arbitrary because we don't know how much they're affected by gravity in there anyway, so... Go away, me, get on, get
Because she's just now I don't know if you feel it because the pelvis was in such pain before. Now it's just the bottom of the stomach just kills. It's like, get your ass up.
Okay, all good. So from here, left knee slides forwards, right knee slides back, or you do your option if you're not doing this. Dropping the hips from side to side. Okay, you're gonna
Pain right here.
Okay, but is it kind of a stretching pain or pain?
Probably stretching pain.
Yeah, because you were saying your quads are quite tight anyway, so maybe, I mean, it was more groin, so maybe go a bit more gentler, so walk the hands a bit further forward, so you're kind of reducing the angle, is that okay?
Yeah.
And then work from there, and just gently rock the hips, because we want to loosen the quads, but not if it's going to pull your groin, you don't want to, swap one issue for another. Does that feel a bit more manageable?
Yeah, I noticed pain down that side of my groin weeks ago anyway. So I don't know if
It's all really common. Anything in the pelvis, when you think what's happening in your pelvis, it's no surprise really that you're going to pick up a whole range of.
First pregnancy, it wasn't until that really close to the end in this pregnancy I feel like I've just found.
Yeah, that happens as well. You fall to pieces.
I feel like I'm huge already. I'm already getting aches and pains.
So then, for me, if you want to go a little deeper, you can walk your hands further back in towards you. And if you want that quad stretch, you bend the knee. See how that feels. And then if you want to go a little bit more, you can use your right hand and bring it back. See if you can hold the foot and gently draw the heel towards you. So any of these options, as far as you can go is absolutely fine. And then releasing. And then pushing up onto all fours. Tuck your toes under. Bring the hips back to the heels. Stretch the arms out in front. And then come up, push into the heels of your hands. Lift the hips up to the ceiling and just work the backs of the legs again. Keep pushing into the heels of your hands so that your spine lengthens. Now again, if you've got high blood pressure or carpal tunnel, this might not be comfortable, so you may want to come down quite soon or maybe miss it out altogether. And for some of you, it might feel really nice to come into down the dog. And then when you're ready, coming all the way down. Didn't somebody have carpal tunnel a while ago?
Other Catherine as well, I think.
The other Catherine, and how is it?
I sleep much better. Well, I say much better. I don't get pins and needles as much.
Okay. And you're all right coming up onto your hands?
I'm just heavy. So.
Okay.
As in, so I can't stay on my hands for ages because I need to start to.
Okay. Right.
But sleeping wise, because my main issue was obviously lying on my side and then
Getting pins and needles.
But yeah, and then I just have dead arms. But touch wood.
That's gone. Well, that's yeah. So maybe that when you're on all fours, you just have to kind of come out like we were doing. Give them a bit of a rest and then come back down again. So we're going to do more coming onto all fours. It's the last little bit. Okay. So. Going to stretch the foot out and then lift the leg off the floor. Now what you can do, some of you, particularly if you've got the pelvic girdle pain, is kind of shuffle back until that foot touches the wall, so you can actually kind of push the foot against the wall or whatever's behind you and use that, so you kind of, it's like a slight squatting position, so it might give you a little bit more strength in that leg. Now if you want to try some balance, so again working the strength, you can take the left arm, I'll come out the way then, Phoebe, Margot. otherwise I'm going to hit each other. And then you can drop the hand all the way down. And then do the same on the other side. So left leg extends out, and then you lift the left leg off the floor, push the heel away, potentially pushing it into the wall behind you if you want to have that as a support. And if that feels okay, you can take the right arm out. And then bring the hand down, bring the knee down. So, last little bit of movement here is to lift the right knee and stretch it out. Doing a little bit of a quad stretch. And then lower it down. And then lift the left knee, point the toes to the ceiling, little quad stretch. And lower down. Okay, and then you can come over onto your hands and onto your knees. So from here, we're going to do some work on the feet and the toes, but it's going to actually work the thigh muscles. So normally we just do these movements here, but what you're going to do, and there's 2 stages to this, so you can choose the level of hardness or challenge that you want with this one. So we're going to just work on the right foot to begin with. You're going to lift the heel off the floor and then point and flex. Yeah, so can you start to feel that pulling a bit in your quad, because now your quad is having to hold you in place. Yeah, you're all feeling something. Oh God. And then relax, and then do the same on the other side. So lift the left heel off the floor and then point and flex. Okay, give it a little bit of a rub. And then we're going to do ankle rotations. You're going to lift the leg off the ground. My quads aren't working today. And then change direction. And then lower down. And same on this side, lift the leg off the floor. Ankle rotation. And then go the other way. And then release, give them a jiggle. Have you tried, the binding we did on the belly? Belly binding?
No. Yeah. Well, I did the scarf because it was the best thing I could find. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, if you've got like a sarong or something, you can wrap around your shawl. Okay. Yeah, just buy that, it'll be so cheap now. And then do the belly binding, because that supports where you're feeling all that discomfort at the moment. It does support you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really, really good option. If you find one and you can't do it at home, bring it with you next week and I'll find you. I'll tie you up. Okay, so now taking the right leg, bring it over. So stretching the outside of the right leg. And if your bump is in the way, you can turn slightly away from the thigh, so that would be towards the left. But if your bump is fine and you're not feeling constricted, then you can stay in the neutral position. You might also be able to bring the left leg under as well, so you've got the double legs. So that's only going to be possible if your pelvis is comfortable with this. Shuffle the hips back a bit, Amy, if you're a bit more upright. Okay. How does that feel on there? Will it come over a bit more? Can you come onto the outside edge of your foot? A little, yeah, that's it. So bring it round a little bit more. and you can still double wrap, so that's quite good.
Yeah, I've been doing this at home now, and I think that's probably why.
Yeah, just beating your pelvis into submission. And you can also do a little bit of rubbing here on the sacral.
I've been doing that as well, because that's quite tender actually.
They often go hand in hand, as I've said before, you know, often when symphysis pubis dysfunction occurs, it's often because the sacrum is tight. So the only place left to stretch when the pelvis tries to broaden is the symphysis pubis. So kind of massaging and rubbing and stretching the base of your pelvis open is quite useful, and it feels nice because every pregnant woman feels congested here. There's a lot happening in the sacrum.
Also do that rolling in the back that you taught us to do as well, which I quite like.
Yeah.
And your knees are.
Yeah, stranded beetle.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can take the legs out, give them a little roll, a little wriggle. And then left leg on top this time. So, again, if you're towards the end of your pregnancy, you might want to turn towards the right and give your baby a bit more space. If you've got enough space, you may want to bring the right leg underneath. And sometimes it'll work on one side and not the other. So you might find that on this side you can actually do double leg, or maybe on this side you can't when you could do it on the other side.
You know, when you're doing one leg, should that be pulling on the hamstring now as well?
Yeah, now this is the difficulty of doing it this way when you've only got capacity to bring one leg round, is that what tends to happen is it just goes into the hamstring because you're pressing down on the leg to straighten it. So it becomes more of a hamstring stretch than a hip stretch.
Which is fine.
If you need to stretch your hamstrings, it's a really, really good hamstring stretch. Okay, and then give a little bit of a rub again into the back of your pelvis. Okay, and then just gently undo legs with a little bit of a wriggle. Okay, so we're going to come into some squatting positions now. I'm just going to think of some alternatives for SPD. So we're going to be doing some all fours work. So what you can do if you want to is clamshell. Yeah? You know the one when you... That one.
The one she's told me to be doing every day.
Ah, good. So, yeah, 10 slow ones. And then you can also maybe do these ones, maybe do that one when you lift it in the underneath leg. And then when we swap sides, you swap sides. Okay, so that's your option if you want to do that for strengthening. If you want to have a go at some squatting, come on to all fours. So we're going to work in and out of our squatting position. The main thing to think about with squatting is to actually have the feet quite wide. One of the things that goes wrong with squatting is people have their heels too close together and then there's just nowhere to go. So if your feet are like this, there's nowhere that you can get your heels down. So the wider that the feet are, can you see the difference? Now my heels are down, I can comfortably get into a squat. You may not get your heels on the floor, but you'll certainly get into a more comfortable squat if you've got the feet wider apart. So although we're in all fours position, make sure your heels and your feet are quite wide. And then an easy way to come in and out of these moves is just to walk your hands back, lift the knees off the floor, and then walk forwards. So we're just going to come in and out of these movements. So you don't have to hold it for very long. This is just preparing for these postures. And if at this point you think, do you know what, this is not comfortable, it's not happening, then maybe you don't do it, particularly if it's causing some pain. If it's because the hips are not complying because they've never done it before and they're feeling a bit stiff, that's a different matter. So now you just have to do more of it. But if there's something untoward here and there's some sharp pains, then that's an indication that this is not for you. Okay, so the next time you come up, you're going to hold it. And you're going to swivel. So you're going to drop the right heel to the floor and let the knee come out. And then you're going to drop the left heel to the floor and let the knee come out. So you're just swiveling from side to side. All good?
That way.
Okay.
I've got that pronate, so I'm
I was just going to say your foot and knee and ankle is all out kilter.
So I get hit
Yes, it
It's
does.
all just a bit messed up because my feet just are flat basically.
Yeah, so I would only do as much as you can. Yeah, I was just looking, thinking, oh, that's like death becomes her again. All the
So it's because of my feet. My feet are just wrong, and then the rest of me.
yeah, it's interesting. The feet, you know, everything happens in the feet. Everything starts in the feet. And then you can walk the hands all the way back. Okay, so now from here, taking the right leg back behind you, circle it around and bring the foot to the front. And then just lunging forwards and backwards. Now when you come into your deepest forward lunge, if your knee goes further forwards than your ankle, you can step the foot a little bit further forward. So in your deepest lunge, you want the right shin to be upright. And this is going to give you more of a stretch in your quad. You can draw back if you want more of a hamstring stretch until that leg is straight. But if it is, make sure that your left thigh is vertical. And then ease forwards. You've got this stretch in the quads on the left side. And then draw the hips back, straighten the front leg as much as you can. If you want a bigger stretch, pull the toes up to the ceiling and really make your eyes water. And then do that a few more times. So again, if your hamstrings are tight, this is quite a good one to work with. And then we're going to do that with some arm movements. I'm just going to shift around a bit more, to give you a bit of space. So we're going to take the arms up. So we're going to come into that position with the foot straight or the foot on the floor and sweep the arms all the way up and then come back into the lunge, bring the hands all the way down. So push into the foot to rise up, straighten the leg, sweep the arms over the head, and then bend the knee, and sweep all the way down. One more time. So draw back, straighten the leg. They're good for the balance. Can you feel that? Being good for the balance. And then bringing the hands all the way down. And then rising up, hands onto the hips. Bring the right hand onto the right leg, and then if you want that little stretch again, you can bend the left knee. Cramp everywhere. Do you want to think about menopause? Yeah, I think it's hormones more than salt, because I just cramp all the way everywhere now. Okay, so like that, and then release, and then come all the way down, and then down facing dog. So again, all the mums that are doing the SPD, if you want to do a down dog or a cat or a child, you can do that now, and then come on to the other side as we come to do our other side. So again, if you're breech, then yeah, you need to dog as much as you can. And then bring the knees down. So Alex is another thing to be aware of. When breech babies try to move, and they do try to move because it's not the best comfortable position for them, you often experience it as a massive, quite uncomfortable sensation in your belly. If that happens, it's because they're trying to move. So at that point, what you want to do is give your baby loads of space. So you do the opposite of what the intuitive thing is. You make space, you lean back, you open your belly, give her some space, maybe even come into a downward facing dog. So if you get that kind of, that big movement in your belly,
Yeah.
The intuitive thing is because it's uncomfortable is to go ooh, but then if you do that, you're closing off all the space that they have to move, and they're not going to be able to make that transition. So that's really important if you've got a breech baby, or if you've got a baby that's trying to get into the head down position. You know, if your baby's trying to get into the optimum fetal position, when you get those movements, give them space. Okay. So just thought I'd mention that, yeah, because it's the counterintuitive thing to do. We want to do that, but yeah, that's going to stop them from doing what they want to do, which is turn. Okay, so other side. So left leg extends out, circle it all the way around to the front. If you're doing the SPD stuff, you want to come onto the other side and do your clamshell and your leg lifts. So easing the hips forwards and backwards. And then again, what you can do when you come into your deepest forward lunge, make sure that your shin is vertical, so walk the foot a little bit further forwards, and then you'll get the stretch in the quad as well. So then you come forwards and get that quad stretch, and then you draw the hips backwards. If you want to, you can straighten the left leg. Make sure that your right thigh is vertical at that point. And then walk the hands forwards, come into the lunge, feeling that stretch in the quad, and then drawing the hips back. And again, if you want that extra stretch here, you lift the toes off the floor and you get that deep stretch into your hamstrings. How's that, Jen? That looks comfortable on that. Even, yeah, does that feel alright?
That's not too bad. I can't, you know, when you say about lifting the foot off the back, that just kills me.
Yeah, it's not nice on the knee. It gives me cramp in my hamstrings. But that's quite a good one to do because it's kind of stretching gently where you want to have the stretch without kind of causing too much discomfort. So then from here we're going to add the arms in as well. So as you draw the hips back, you can sweep the arms all the way up over the head. And then as you bend the knee forward back into the lunge, bring the hands all the way down to the floor. Inhale to come up, push the foot into the ground and then lift the rib cage. And then exhale, ease all the way down. So a couple more times. Last one. And then rising all the way back up. You might need to bring that foot in slightly. Bring the back of the hand onto the leg, turn the body slightly, and then if you want that extra stretch, you can lift the right foot off the floor, just as we did in the kneeling, the knee through position. But I'm not going to do that because it keeps giving me cramp in my hamstring. And as Jen was saying, if you've got any knee problems as well, it's not going to be very nice. But those of you that can, gives you a bit more balance, challenge, and also gives you a bit of a stretch in the quad. And then you can release. Bring the hands down to the floor, step that leg back, and those of you that are doing your SPD stuff, if you want to, you can come into downward facing dog, and then we're going to come up to standing. So from your downward dog, you can just walk your hands backwards or walk your feet forwards or do a combination of both. And then when you're dangling into that forward bend, bend the knees, push the feet into the ground and slowly come all up to standing. So just grab a quick drink if you want one. If you're too hot there, Alex, you can turn the radio.
I think I have.
Have you? Yeah. It's too
Yeah, I
much
have.
as well. So we'll just have a few standing, squatting practices. So taking the feet a little bit wider, shift the weight from side to side, and then come back to the centre. And the key thing with squatting when you're in a standing position is that you want to have your knees and your feet facing the same way. So if your feet collapse in and you try to squat and your knees are pointing inwards and your feet are pointing outwards, you're going to put a lot of pressure on your cruciate ligaments, which isn't great. So you want to make sure that when you come into squatting position, knees and feet go in the same way. So, take the arms up over the head. And then as you breathe out, bend the knees, come down into a comfortable squat and just sweep the arms out and then push the feet into the ground to rise up. And then do the same again. So you're trying to keep the body as upright as you can while coming into your squatting position. Now again, if you're not comfortable here, if this doesn't suit the SPD, then what you can do is place the brick in between your thighs. I'm all out of bricks. And then just do some standard squatting where the pelvis is kept in a neutral position, but you're gripping the brick between your thighs. If you want a little bit more work here, when you come up, rise onto your toes. And then one more time. And then just come down. Just bring the feet in, give them a little bounce. And then you're all going to use a brick, a block, or cushion. If I have those two back, and Alex has got my purple one, so I can give you yours back, Marco. That's a good weight. So just having something in between your thighs. Again, if you've got quite narrow hips, these will probably be better. If the hips are a little bit wider, then the bricks will be better. So I've got these two going. So those of you that have got a cushion, would anybody like this? Particularly if you kind of feel like there's nothing happening when you're squeezing the cushion.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, so again, this is a narrow squat and you're going to press in towards your brick block or cushion. What you could do if you've got a cushion, fold it in half. And then you've got more to think. Do you want thighs that will crush a walnut? Okay. What I would do there, Karen, is make it horizontal.
Go that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you want your
I'll get
knees, because you're
That's
going to bend the
easier.
knees, so you're going to want
This is
them
definitely easier.
free. Okay, so again, you want feet and knees tracking, same. You're going to breathe in, take the arms out to horizontal, and then as you breathe out, just bend the knees, take your weight into your heels, but keep the body upright. So what you don't want is bottom sticking out. Try and stay upright, and then push up. Can you feel the difference? So when you do this, your back is actually doing most of the work, and a little bit of the glutes. But when you do this, it's more quads. So different part of the body having to do the work. So it doesn't matter how far you come down. In fact, most people can't get very far. They never get their heels to the floor in this position. But trying to keep the thighs working and keep the chest upright. one more. And relax, a bit of a shake. We are going to do a little bit of partner balancing. So, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Hurrah! Even numbers. Can I just borrow you, Lauren?
Yeah.
You okay to be on the video? So Lauren's going to be my support. So she's just going to kind of hold her arms out like this, and it's actually no, it might be more up here. Actually, more up here. So basically, put your hand up like that. That's it. So I'm going to use Lauren as my support, and then I'm going to come into this position. So I'm stretching my quad, and then if Lauren walks back a little bit, go backwards. That's it. And then I can even, if I want to, come forwards, but Lauren's still supporting me. Okay. Now, some of you may be able to still do this without the support of having somebody there, but your partner might need your support. So again, it's one of those things where equal height is probably going to be important, so you don't really want to have too much of a disparity in height. So if you can find somebody that is fairly evenly matched with you. Amy and Pippa again.
I'm not doing that again. No, it's going to be on my
So decide who's going to be the support. So whoever is the support, bend your knees. I need a whistle. Whoever's the supporting person, bend the knees so don't hurt yourself. And then just place your hand where your partner needs it. Now if you're doing the balance, shift your weight onto one leg and bring the other leg up. Yeah. Is that going to be? If that's not going to work for you, now the initial stretch is to squeeze the heel towards the buttock. So that's your first stage. Squeeze the heel towards the buttock, and then you're going to get your quad stretch. Now, after you've done that, if you think, oh, I'd like to go more, then if your partner moves back a little bit with your kind of understanding that that's going to happen, and then you can rotate the pelvis forwards. Right. So you can pull out. So how you're going to stretch on one leg. Yeah. So maybe you could do different things. Yeah, really tight. So I would say, so bring your pelvis flatter. Yeah.
Can you beat us up?
So if you haven't already, swap. Yeah, I did. Oh, this time comes. I know. You've got that kind of understanding. Okay, so yeah.
You did that bend that size 3
Okay. So once you've done that, you can finish off and
And this will be the last stretch in class, which you want With the stretch we did last week, the partner stretch where the kitchen sink stretch, we did this last week. So you hold hands with your partner facing each other, bend the knees, walk away until you're supporting each other. Your backs are parallel to the ground and you kind of lean away just a little bit from each other so that your back gets stretched open. It's absolutely beautiful. So most of you know this one. So remember to bend the knees. Yes. Hold both hands, bend the knees, and then walk away from each other until your backs are parallel to the ground. Gently ease away from each other. So you want to feel the stretching at the back. You don't want to be kind of holding yourself up so that you're pull you back. Can you feel the stretch? Yeah. Maybe go back a tiny touch more because can you see your backs both curving inwards? Yeah, that looks better.
It's quite nice, that is.
And then when you want to come up,
Get really tight.
and just notice how it feels.
I know it's not really like from the sack for a long period of I can't like
Okay, so anybody wants to lie down? But cannot get any wings to try to yeah, it's true.
I found it nice to do something that wasn't which is really selfish.
Okay, mums, do you want to have a lie down or do you want to have a chat? So coming on to whatever position you're comfortable, if you feel that you'd rather just stay sitting up, if it's just too much bother to get down, then just prop yourself up against the wall. You can then use all of the supports that you have around you to make yourself as comfortable as you can. So where you've got a pillow, you might not necessarily put that underneath the head because it might be better used coming underneath your belly if you're having any round ligament pain. If you're having any pelvic pain, you might want to place a block underneath, in between the legs. I've got some spare ones, so if anybody would like a block for their legs, then please let me know. And then just finding the best position. I'm just going to turn the lights out. And then just allowing yourself to melt down into the ground. So just using this opportunity now for rest. So we've worked quite hard this evening. We've been challenging ourselves just a little bit, not too much, to work with stamina and strength. But we also need to have a certain amount of rest.
Our body is working very hard at the moment. And so we need to balance that hard work with appropriate rest. So appropriate rest are just things like this, so working with a short lying relaxation. You can work with a more structured yogic relaxation technique, which is called Yoga Nidra, and I sometimes do these in the class if we have enough time. They can take about 20 to 40 minutes, but they are very, very deep relaxation techniques. And meditation as well can provide as much rest and relaxation in terms of the brainwave patterns as 2 hours of sleep. So if you meditate or rest for 20 minutes, it's the equivalent of 2 hours of sleep. So just taking some time here in this reclining position, this resting position. Feel the support that you have from the ground, and then just allowing your body to surrender down into that support. And through that support, just see if you can cultivate the quality of softness. Can you offer the quality of softness to your body? And then let your attention rest on your breath. And without changing the quality of your breath, just be aware of the rhythm. Be aware of the flow. The flow of your inhalation. The flow of your exhalation. As you breathe in, see if you can cultivate a sense of spaciousness. As you might feel a sense of the lungs and the ribs expanding, you might also feel a more subtle expansion moving along the spine. You might also be able to feel an even more subtle sense of expansion on a cellular level. And then as you breathe out, see if you can find a different quality, the quality of letting go, the quality of surrender. So moving between these two qualities as they arise, relating to the breath. So as you breathe in, feeling this state of expansion, spaciousness, lengthening. And as you breathe out, feeling this quality of softening, surrendering, letting go. time you breathe out, you can just relax that practice of observing the breath. Begin to gently externalize your awareness. Notice all the sensations in your body. Notice the feeling of the ground beneath you. Be aware of the sounds that you can hear, the sounds of life going on outside this room. And then take a long, slow breath in and then sigh the breath out. Begin to bring a little bit of movement into your body. Move your fingers, move your toes. Begin to awaken your body. And then if you're lying down, just take your time and gently bring yourself back up to sitting. There's no rush, take all the time you need. Just gradually, gently, slowly coming up into a seated position. Take a moment to notice how you feel. And just take a moment to connect in with your baby. And then taking the arms out to the sides and up over the head, just have a little stretch from side to side. And then draw the hands down into the heart center. And just honouring your body, honouring your baby. And we'll close by chanting the mantra Om if you wish to join in. Just take a slow breath in. Thank you so much for your time and your attention this evening, beautiful Yogini Mamas. Namaste. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy the rest of October. It's got to November tomorrow. I'm just going to pop the light back on, so you might want to shield your eyes.